First tonight, we're following breaking news out of Dayton. A man is in custody after barricading himself inside of a home on York Avenue. Several law enforcement crews were there, including SWAT. Now, the standoff itself lasting several hours tonight. Police say Jeffrey Bowling was wanted for aggravated robbery. Dayton police say after those several hours, Bowling eventually came out of that home without incident. Tonight, Huber Heights city manager facing charges after being arrested yesterday. An emergency meeting called by city council members tonight, all to discuss what happens now. Jenny Bork was there live in Huber Heights for us tonight. What exactly was he arrested for?
Yeah, I sure can, Adam. So Richard Zick was arrested for driving while intoxicated and driving left of center by Mount Vernon police in Knox County. I'm still waiting on the police report, but we were able to confirm those charges through the Mount Vernon Municipal Court.
Huber Heights' emergency meeting started just after 4:30 on Monday evening. Roll call was taken, and then Mayor Jeff Gore asked Karen Powell, the Deputy Clerk of Council, to read the motion for why the meeting was called.
A motion to go into executive session to consider the discipline or dismissal of a public official under personnel matters.
City Council members voted unanimously to go directly into executive session. None of the members made any other comments at that time. A little after 5:40, City Council members came back out to the public portion of the meeting. Mayor Gore spoke on behalf of the council.
Rick has done an exceptional job in his tenure with the city of Huber Heights thus far. And from that perspective, and this is a matter of personal issues, there won't be any further comments at this time. Other than Rick has been a very good employee for this city since he's been here. And I want to make sure everybody knows that. And we are taking this under seriously.
Court records show Huber Heights' city manager, Richard Zick, was arrested in Mount Vernon on Sunday and charged with driving while intoxicated and driving left of center. He'll be arraigned on Tuesday morning. Past documents from the same court show he's been charged with 7 other traffic violations between 2002 and 2013. Most of them have been for speeding, and he's never had a DUI charge in Mount Vernon before Sundays.
We still don't know if the city of Huber Heights will take any disciplinary action at a later time. I reached out to Mayor Gore for further comment and didn't hear back. I also reached out to council member Kathleen Baker, who said she had no further comment at this time. Back to you in studio.
Jenny, thank you. This Huber Heights man now charged after a road rage incident led to an officer-involved shooting. 42-year-old Kenneth Hott is facing several charges, including felonious assault and assaulting a police officer. Now, back on May 5th, investigators say Hott was involved in a road rage incident, chasing and shooting at another driver. Since then, that prompted a police chase, and eventually Hott got out of the car and is accused of pointing a pellet gun at an officer. That resembled an AR-15 style rifle. Now, the officer then shot Hott, who is set to be arraigned now Thursday morning. The trial is now underway for the man charged in the murder and the death of a 71-year-old woman in Yellow Springs. Prosecutors say back in March, police found 71-year-old Connie Vang dead in the front hallway of her home. Now, Clark County Sheriff deputies and agents with Ohio BCI arrested 22-year-old Jackson Blathing. He's charged with 14 counts, including murder, felonious assault, and firearms charges. Blathing remains in the Greene County Jail on a $1 million bond. If convicted, he could face life in prison without parole. Dayton fire crews investigating the cause of this garage fire that happened this afternoon. It happened on Leonard Street. Black smoke rising into the sky during part of this. Thankfully, nobody was hurt. Everyone accounted for. Dayton Fire District Chief Matt McLean says it started in the backyard.
The garage was surrounded by a large number of old tires that were being stored here. With the way tires burn, the way rubber gets going like that, we had a lot of quick heat buildup and a lot of quick extension. We had fire damage to 8 total addresses. 3 on Leonard and 5 over on Lamar Street on the next block over. We prevented a major conflagration here in the neighborhood. It could have been pretty bad.
Riverside and Harrison Township crews were called out to help. Live power lines were down, but that got under control quickly. The neighborhood is currently without power. We're told it's going to be back on soon. Most of the damage was external. The district chief says everyone is going to be able to be back in their homes this evening. Last week, RI International announced it would no longer be providing mental health crisis services for alcohol, drug addiction, or mental health services in Montgomery County. Now, Now, the Adamus Board of Trustees met today, allowing the community to sit in and discuss where they're going to go from here. Kasha Hancock was there, joins us now live to explain. Kasha?
Well, in the meeting, the Adamus Board recommended 2 agencies to fill the role of RI International, which are DeCoach and NetCare.
So for the past 12 days, we've been working very, very hard to identify providers who could come into Montgomery County and continue crisis services and have those services transfer seamlessly.
With the Montgomery County Adamus Board only receiving a 14-day notice about RI International withdrawing its services, Adamus immediately started thinking of ways to keep the services going.
So the Montgomery County Adamus Board was recommending that NetCare out of Columbus take on our crisis calls. We were recommending that DeCoach, a local provider here in Montgomery County, would take on mobile crisis response.
Adamus says it receives 1,200 crisis phone calls per month and wants a provider who will be ready to serve those in need as soon as possible. But after hearing opinions from trustees and the community in a meeting Monday night, they were unable to make progress with a decision.
We are very disappointed that the Program and Services Committee did not approve those resolutions to move forward to the full board. So we're very, very concerned about what's going to happen with our crisis service delivery on Thursday.
But the fight to figure out a solution isn't over yet.
And our full board will have the opportunity to bring forward a new resolution that would continue crisis services effective Wednesday at midnight.
When a decision is made about what's going to happen with these crisis services, we'll be sure to update you on air and online at Dayton247now.com. Back to you.
All right, to weather we go, and it was a hot one. There's no question about it, and it sounds like we're going to be paying for it soon.
Yeah, we have some storms in the forecast. Whenever it's this hot this time of the year, you know there's going to be a cold front.
Yeah.
And that often brings the risk for some storms. And we do have the potential for some of these storms to be strong to severe. So as of right now, we're tracking the potential for these storms later into the day on Wednesday. Damaging wind gusts would be our main concern. We could see some large hail. That is a potential out of this. And then localized flooding with the ground still fairly saturated. We get some heavier downpours. Localized flooding could become a concern heading into the day on Wednesday. We'll even see showers continuing into our Thursday as well. So we'll monitor that risk closely. We have a level 2 threat for severe storms for the entire region. I will say this is a conditional risk. We're going to see how things really begin to line up as we head into our day on Wednesday. We have the potential for some storms earlier into the day, and then with our cold front moving through later into the evening, we'll see how things really begin to develop to bring that potential risk late into the day on Wednesday. So for right now, stay weather aware. Have a look at the rest of the week and time out those storms for you coming up in just a bit.
All right, here's a live look at our roadways now from our ODOT cameras. Summer travel season, it is right around the corner, but one thing that might put a damper on your plans is construction all across the area. Lydia Bice spoke with ODOT and local law enforcement today for advice as you head out on the roads this Memorial Day weekend.
There are construction sites all over our roadways here in the Miami Valley this summer, especially on I-75 here behind me. Our viewers may remember that there was a major crash in a contraflow lane on I-75 near Needmore Road on Friday, which is why law enforcement officials are reminding us to slow down in construction zones, put your phone down, and be sure to leave plenty of space between you and the car in front of you. Sergeant Gordon Cairns with the Dayton Police Department also had this reminder about driving in contraflow lanes.
If you turn left or right in that contraflow lane, you're going to hit a concrete wall. If you're in the contraflow lane and you were to get into an accident, there's really nowhere to go. If maybe you're someone who is a little claustrophobic and don't like having a wall on both sides of your car, don't use the contraflow lane.
Law enforcement officials also want to make sure that we all remember how important it is to take our children or pets out of our cars this summer, even if you're just running in somewhere for just a few minutes. Now, don't forget, you can also download the Dayton 24/7 Now app, which provides you with the latest traffic and weather updates to avoid that construction this summer. Back to you.
A chaotic 19th day in the Donald Trump hush money trial. What got the former president and the press so unhappy today?
Plus, I'm tracking the risk for severe storms across the Miami Valley for our Wednesday. I'll time it all out for you. That's coming up. Here's a live look from our Eco Plumber Skycam. You're watching Dayton 24/7 Now.
Weekend violence raising concerns for city leaders in Columbus tonight. City council members and the city attorney taking time to address the recent homicides. Whether that means shutting down problem businesses or partnering with crime reduction organizations. Carly Van Cleve shares what they're planning.
Another weekend with too many lives lost to violence in the city. 5 people killed and 5 others injured in shootings across Columbus. City leaders working to address the problem.
My heart goes out to their families. It's really a sad situation when you hear multiple people being shot in one episode.
City Councilman Emmanuel Ramey is announcing an ordinance at tonight's council meeting, partnering with the National Institute for Criminal Justice Reform.
We are doing our part as a city to try to combat all of this gun violence. But again, when state lawmakers make it easier and easier and easier to procure guns, it makes it very difficult.
One of the deadly shootings of concern happened early Saturday morning. 6 people were shot at the intersection of Summit Street and 5th Avenue. 3 people are dead and the others fighting for their lives.
I was frankly very disappointed and angry because we've made so many strides over the past 5.5 months since the beginning of the new year.
The shots went off outside a business called MIA Hookah Lounge. It's a location that's been on the radar for City Attorney Zach Klein, but he says they need more evidence to take action.
We build these cases based on 911 calls and calls for service. We also base them on 311 calls. And the community plays such an important role here for us to be able to build these cases.
He says his office and the Columbus Division of Police are looking into previous reports of shootings, fights, and large crowds outside that business. As far as what could happen next, he says all options are on the table.
We have an obligation, and it is my duty, and it's my desire as the city attorney to be as aggressive as possible to businesses that are threatening and undermining public safety in all of our neighborhoods. We will shut you down. We will do everything we can to hold you accountable.
Well, tracking the potential for severe storms by later this week. For today, though, it was quiet. It was very warm. Tomorrow is going to be a very similar day with well above normal temperatures. Some clouds streaming in due to this weakening complex just off to our northwest, but heading into our Wednesday, a cold front will make its way into the region, increasing our thunderstorm chances across the Miami Valley. So heading overnight, we'll be in the 60s tomorrow, close to 90 degrees. Spot shower possible, but most will be dry for tomorrow. Heading into our Wednesday, we will watch the potential for a few storms early into the day. This will be a weakening system, but will potentially have an impact on our chance for storms by the second half of the day. And then here's a look at Wednesday afternoon, back into the 80s again. It does look like our best potential for severe storms will be late into the evening. It's a fairly conditional risk for storms, but something that we'll have to monitor very closely because we do have the risk for some damaging wind gusts. We could see some large hail, and our tornado risk, it's non-zero, but it is low. Localized flooding could be a concern too. So I'll have an update on that with a look at our 7-day coming up in just a bit.
The prosecution has rested its case in Donald Trump's New York hush money trial today. This is after Trump's former attorney, Michael Cohen, openly admitted he stole thousands of dollars from Trump's company. Now, Cohen admits he pocketed $30,000 that was supposed to be in part of a $50,000 payment to a tech firm in 2017. Now, Cohen said he never paid his boss back and that was never charged with stealing. Also in court, a campaign finance expert and Bob Costello, a lawyer who advised Cohen after his home was raided by the FBI. The judge in Trump's trial had to clear the courtroom after a tense exchange with Costello after he rolled his eyes and audibly reacted to the judge's rulings. Now, Trump slammed the judge's move as he left the courtroom.
A highly political judge, a totally conflicted judge, who just did something that nobody's ever seen. And the press is not happy, I don't imagine. They just got thrown out of a courthouse. Nobody's ever seen anything quite like it.
The defense says Costello will be the final witness as he returns tomorrow. Before leaving today, though, the defense asked if the charges could be dismissed, to which the judge said he's reserving his decision. Trump still continues to plead not guilty to all 34 charges against him and deny the alleged affair with Stormy Daniels. The president of Iran and other high-ranking officials dead tonight. Iranian state media reporting the country's president, along with Iran's foreign minister and another leader, died in a helicopter crash today. Now, that crash happened in the mountainous region of the country. No cause of that crash has been reported, but there was an intense fog at the time. The U.S. State Department says they regret the loss of life, but will not forget the late president's human rights abuses.
Some of the worst human rights abuses occurred during his tenure as president, especially the human rights abuses against the women and girls of Iran, that he has blood on his hands. So I think most importantly, our fundamental approach to Iran has not changed and will not change.
He says the U.S. will continue to support the people of Iran's human rights and confront the Iranian regime's support for terrorism and nuclear weapons. Now, following their president's death, Iran's vice president has now been appointed. Starting today, he will be the fill-in as the temporary president until the upcoming elections confirm a replacement.
I think in the general administration of the country and the sort of the strategic overview, I don't think a huge amount will change.
An Iranian history professor said Iranian leaders are hopeful the replacement will be loyal and reliable. Iran's next president must be chosen within 50 days. The International Criminal Court's chief prosecutor says he's seeking arrest warrants for the leaders of Israel and Hamas. Now, the prosecutor is accusing Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for crimes, war crimes, and crimes against humanity in Gaza. He also accuses Hamas's leader of crimes against humanity for the October 7th attack on Israel. Now, President Biden reacting to this tonight, calling the prosecutor's moves, quote, outrageous, adding, quote, whatever this prosecutor might imply, there is no equivalence, none, between Israel and Hamas. We will always stand with Israel against threat to its security. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu is also calling the warrants a disgrace. All right, there's a live look at the power outage U.S. map now. You can see more than 154,000 folks are without power in Texas tonight. Earlier today, that number was more than 500,000. This comes after 2 deadly tornadoes touched down Thursday, killing 7 people. That night, nearly 1 million people were in the dark. All right, so back in our area now, very pleasant day to be outside, enjoy the beautiful weather out there. Pretty warm, though, for the day. So let's check in with Natalie to see if that warm weather is going to continue.
Well, quiet and beautiful evening out here right now, but we do have storms in the forecast by our Wednesday time frame, and some of those storms could be strong to severe. We have been talking about that. Localized flooding could be a concern. I will say models trending down just a little bit from where they were, but this is through Friday. Potentially could see some spots getting at least 1 inch of rainfall, but very well could see localized heavier amounts with some heavier downpours. So we're going to be watching that very closely. Either way, by Wednesday and especially Thursday, we will see rain making its way into the region. Temperature wise, we got a cold front swinging through, so although close to 90 tomorrow, we'll be back into the 70s by the end of this week.
Well, Memorial Day just a single week away now. How a local city is celebrating the holiday and honoring a local World War II veteran after the break. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now. Well, it might feel like summer already, but it is officially right around the corner. And the city of Kettering opening up a new park honoring a local World War II veteran. Eli Burgett checked out the progress today.
As you can see behind me, the 19-acre Gentilly Nature Park is in the closing stages of construction. The park has been in development for decades, and in a few short weeks, it will finally be unveiled.
We don't really have another neighborhood park in that part of town. It was an underserved area as it relates to a neighborhood park. So being that it's tucked in between two Kettering elementary schools, we think that it's going to be highly engaging for them.
Gentilly Nature Park, named after World War II Major Dominic Gentilly, has been in the planning stages for about 2 decades. The park cost almost $2.5 million to develop and will feature brand